Alright, we are back in the kitchen with another canning recipe today. Today is all about green tomato salsa verde. This is an excellent recipe to use up green tomatoes that just will not ripen. In our zone, we're in zone 7B, and we had record high temperatures combined with record low rainfall, and a lot of farmers were left with green tomatoes that just would not ripen. And a lot of times, I know when I first started gardening, my first thought was, man, it's ruined. You know, what can I do with green tomatoes except for fried green tomatoes that don't really can up and preserve well? And that's when I discovered Green Tomato Salsa Verde. Now, normally salsa verde is made with tomatillos, you probably know that, but you can just as easily make it with green tomatoes. Now, this recipe that I'm making today, probably it's not going to be a true salsa verde because I do have several ripe tomatoes, and waste not, want not. I'm not going to not put these in here just because they're not green. It'll be totally fine. It's a salsa, so it'll be totally fine. I want to read you the recipe, and then there are going to be a couple of substitutions that I'll make, and I'll explain those to you to help you determine if this is going to be a recipe you would want to try. But here's the recipe. 5 pounds of green tomatoes, which is approximately 6 cups. 6 yellow onions, which is approximately 4 cups. 4 large bell peppers, which comes out to usually 2 cups. 6 large garlic cloves, and if you're using minced garlic like I will, 1 tablespoon equals 1 large clove. And then 1 cup of fresh cilantro, 1 cup of lime juice. Now here's another substitution I'll be making. I don't have any lime juice, so I'm going to be using pineapple juice. Now in our family we have several young children, and spicy foods don't really go over well. So I'm thinking that this pineapple juice is going to add that sweet and tangy to this salsa to make it a winner for everybody, which is, you know, when you're cooking for your own family, you know what your family likes. So pineapple juice in place of lime juice. I think it's going to work wonders. If it's not good, I'm not going to post this video. So if you're watching this right now, it turned out really good. So pineapple in place of the lime juice. Next we have half a cup of vinegar, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of dried oregano, 2 teaspoons pepper, and 2 teaspoons of sugar. So the first step is just you're going to core the tomatoes, get that hard core out. I'm going to quarter them, so cut in half again, and then I'm going to put it into my food processor and let that do all the work for me. I'm going to do the same with all of these tomatoes and all of the onions. One quick note about the peppers. These are all the peppers that I have. Not a whole lot. The recipe calls for 4 large bell peppers, so I'm going to say that this is 1. And then I'm going to use my dehydrated peppers. If you have dehydrated peppers on hand, I have used these in countless canning recipes and they rehydrate beautifully. The taste is amazing. This is just dehydrated red and green bell peppers. 1 bell pepper dehydrates to about 1 tablespoon, a heaping tablespoon of, did I say dried pepper? Okay, 1 whole fresh pepper dehydrates down into 1 tablespoon of dried. Okay, I'm going to get chopping, I'm going to get coring, I'm going to throw it all here, and we'll be back when I'm ready to go into the pot and move on to the next step, which I'll show you then. Okay, so we're done all with our choppy chop, and this is what it looks like. Everything's mixed together. Like I said, I had some ripe tomatoes to mix in there, so if you're doing a true salsa verde, you're just going to probably look a lot more green than mine. I forgot to mention something earlier that's really important. If you're having to make substitutions in your canning recipe, especially if you're water bath canning, any recipe really though, you want to make sure that your acidity is still the same level. Now, I only replaced lime juice with pineapple juice. Pineapple juice is equally, if not more acidic than lime juice, so we shouldn't have any issues. But for safety purposes, we want to be absolutely sure that we are at that acidity threshold. So to do that, I just have these pack of pH strips. This is what you would test like fish tank water with. And what we're going to do is we're going to dip it into our recipe. Take it out, break it off, set it on the table for just about 30 seconds. Okay, it's probably been about 30 seconds, so now we compare to our, let's see, we want to be below 4.6. I don't know if you could see that, 4.0, 4.5. We're going to compare. As you can see, We are right at the 3.0, between 3.0 and 3.5. That's below our 4.5 safety level for water bath canning, so we're good to go. So the next step is we're just going to pour it into our pot and we're going to bring it to a rolling boil, and then we'll lower it and simmer it for 30 to 40 minutes or so. I'm going to get this poured in here real quick. Hopefully I won't make a huge mess. Okay, so we've got that in there. We're going to bring this to a rolling boil. If you're new to canning, this is about the time that you want to start preparing your jars. This is going to be a water bath for 20 minutes, which means we don't need to sanitize our jars first. The sanitation process will happen during the canning process. So we only need to clean them and have them be hot. There's a couple different ways you can do that. The way that I do it is I just run my jars through the dishwasher cycle, get them clean, and then I put it on heat cycle and keep them hot until I'm ready to can, which means I'm not going to open the door at any point during the process so it can hold in that heat, and our jars will be good to go. So bring this to a rolling boil, lower it down to a simmer for 30 or 40 minutes. We'll be back at that point. Okay, so our salsa's been on for about 20 minutes now. I don't know if you can see my timer here, but I've got about 25 minutes left. Now's the time that you want to be prepping your canner, because it takes about 20 to 25 minutes to get it hot enough. This is just an extra large stock pot. You're going to fill it about halfway with water. No matter what size pot you're using, you're going to fill it about halfway with water, and that's because once you drop your jars in, the water level is going to rise, and you need about 2 inches of water to stay over your jars at all times. I don't know if you can hear my dishwasher. I'm sorry if it's loud, but that's the canning jars that are being prepped. And since we're at the 24-minute mark now's the time to prep our canner. So I'm just going to put it on medium-high heat. I'm not going to put it all the way on high because I don't want it to get to the point where it's rolling boil and it's splashing out at me. That's not good. So medium-high heat for now, and we'll be back at the next step. Okay, so the salsa is done cooking, and now it's time to load our jars. I just took these jars out of the dishwasher, and they are very hot still. So I'm just going to take a cup and I'm going to start scooping using our cannel funnel here. And for this recipe, we need to leave about a 1/2 inch headspace. Now I know that this canner holds about 7 jars. I'm not sure how many I'm going to get out of this recipe. But for now, whoops, I overfilled that one. That's okay, I'll have to scoop some out in a minute. But for now, I'm just going to load 7 jars because I know that's how many my canner will hold. Now remember, yours is probably going to be a lot darker green than mine because I used those ripe tomatoes. Okay, it looks like I'm going to get more than 7 jars, which is fine. I've got extra in the dishwasher. Anytime that you're canning, you always want to prep more jars than you think you're going to need so that you still have those clean, hot jars on hand whenever you need them. Next, you're going to take your debubble tool. This can also just be a butter knife, anything long and straight and narrow, and you're just going to debubble. This is to remove as much oxygen as possible so we don't have any trapped air inside of our jars. Okay, next step, you want to have a wet rag on hand so that you can clean your rims. The rims of your jars. It's going to be very hot at this point. Wow, very hot. So you want to be careful doing this. But this is to get any remnants of food off of the rim so that your lid sits on and can get a good seal. Ow! Hot. Okay, next put on your lids. And then you want to put your rings on finger tight. So that just means we're going to screw on until it stops. Just do one more half turn and then that's done. You don't want to do it too tight or your lids can buckle on you. Okay, so now it's time to load in our jars. So we're going to use our jar lifter. I have a funny story about this jar lifter. I'll tell you that in just a minute. Ugh. Gotta love kids, right? You mamas. You know how special those moments can be. You'll understand in a minute when I tell you this story. It's when I first started canning. Actually, it was the very first time I ever canned anything. And my little girl, who was 8 years old at the time, showed me out. Okay, so we've got our jars in. We're going to lower very, very carefully. And then we're going to put our lid on. And we're going to wait for this to come to a full rolling boil. I'm going to turn my heat all the way to high now. And we're not going to start timing until we're at a full rolling boil. I am not at a full rolling boil, so let me tell you that story real quick. I know this is a common problem because I saw a lady on Facebook just yesterday. It was her first time canning and she was posting it in a canning group that I'm in. She was so excited. She was sitting there, she probably had a family member or something take a picture of her, but she was holding her jar lifter like this and she was putting a jar in with both hands like this, and she was all excited and so happy, and I was just busted out laughing because I did the exact same thing. So if you're new to canning, this is how you hold the jar lifter, not like this. And the very first time I ever canned anything in my life, my daughter, who is 8 years old, who also never has ever seen this tool in her life, I'm sitting here all excited, putting my canning jars in, and this little girl walks through the kitchen. She goes, "You know that's upside down, right?" And just kept on walking. I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I flipped it, and oh my goodness, these rounded edges fit perfectly around the neck of the jar, and my mind was blown. So here's how you hold the canning jar lifter. You've got your thumb on this little first part, then you have 2 fingers on top, 2 fingers on bottom, and then you're able to open, close as needed. And these are rounded because they fit over the jar. Like I said, I know it's a common problem because I'm just scrolling through Facebook. I see people doing this all the time, which made me feel better because I got shown up at my 8-year-old. Okay, we are still not at a rolling boil, but we're going to let this come to a rolling boil, and then we will start our time for 20 minutes, and I will show you when we get to the point where we're taking these out. Okay, so our jars have been in for 20 minutes. I forgot to mention last time that once your jars have cooked for or water bath for their amount of time, you want to turn your heat down to back to medium high so that it's no longer at a strong rolling boil, and you want to let your jars rest in that water for about 5 minutes. I've already done that, so we're going to take them out. You just want to put some oven mitts on, lift your rack out. Use our jar lifter the right way. When I was first canning, I tilted the jars to get the excess water on the lids, and I learned that that's not good practice. That's because not all of your jars are sealed yet, and by tilting the jar, you can mess with your seal. So it's okay if there's still a little bit of water left on that lid. That's okay, just leave it like that. And I can see that many of my rings have already come loose, which is fine. As long as we get that ping and we get that seal, we're good to go. It's okay for those rings to come loose a little bit in the canner. They're going to be coming off anyway for storage. Oh, one doesn't want to come out. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now they're going to sit here undisturbed for 12 to 24 hours. I usually go 24 hours before I clean them up, test the seal, take the rings off, label, and then put them in storage. That's it, y'all. That's how you can green tomato salsa verde. Easy peasy. That's all for now. We'll see you next time.